Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast as part of this audio podcast series, the Labostix Practice Edition. This is an audio podcast in as part of the an audio podcast series linked to linked to the an audio podcast as part of the Bostix G-Force and as part of the LabTide G-Force, an audio podcast as part of another another Storm Labostix production. This is an audio podcast as a sort of a bonus audio podcast. Audio podcast in this as part of this in this series aligned to sort of Biomedical Science Day 2023. And in this overview, there will be a perspective on looking at nephrology, and an overview an overview in around a symposium, and so a symposium that had a symposium that had recently taken place on sort of taken place linked to sort of nephrology and sort of looking at nephrology in context of sort of looking at aspects of clinical practice, some aspects of scientific practices, but also aligned to sort of panel discussions, if you like, panel discussions that took place that had taken place aligned to aligned to sort of the some of the advances in around nephrology and nephrology sort of practices. Um, so this overview is as thus. So it was a presentation and sort of a panel discussion in line to strategies to ensuring the sort of the best outcomes for those suffering with forms different forms of chronic kidney disease, different forms of chronic kidney disease, but also where the trans transplant symposia looked to looked to have sort of sort of sort of perspectives looking at looking at sort of kidney care practice from the UK Kidney Association, UKKA, and exploring how those suffering with kidney disease can be more empowered and aligned to ensuring there is where clinical practices are are actually where healthcare professionals, physicians, and those involved in clinical practices are ensuring sort of aspects of best practices for those patients patients and carers. So in this symposia there was there was a nephro there was a the panel the discussion of the panel was chaired by a sort of a senior nephrologist based in the United Kingdom, and the panel involved also involved had presenters as speakers also from those in the same sort of part of the United Kingdom, and the panel and presenters were also involved. For example, another sort of nephrologist another nephrologist, and also a senior research fellow, from based from a medical school, from a particular medical school, and also a second a second or third nephrologist involved, and where the panel or the discussion in around this transplant links symposia that took place highlighted insights on around strategies and for ensuring sort of best practices for patients and carers, and the panel discussions also highlighted an overview on strategies required for recipients to sort of maximize on aspects of quality of life, but also life expectancy, and looking at aspects of life expectancies or prognoses, and also aligned to prognoses in context of transplantation. The speakers and presenters also highlighted strategies to support adherence in aligned to immunosuppression as a main factor in ensuring the functioning of those who are transplanted. And also there's a focus on what sort of information and discussions are needed to be had with patients and carers to support both to support sort of aspects of what are different aspects around the genera around transplant and around nephrology practices. The speakers and presenters also additionally discuss primary and secondary sort of strategies, and also looking at presentations and presentations from sort of those involved in also involved in industry in around industry as well. So the Transplant Links Symposia had taken place in sort of mid-June 2023, and the overview in around the symposia can be the understanding is the symposia can be accessed through the UK Kidney Association, or UKKA. In line to this audio podcast, overview, there as part of the audio podcast social media, there will be some context online across Storm Labostix production social media for any viewers or listeners who seek to want to identify further information in around this this particular symposia that took place. So that draws this audio podcast to a close. This was sort of a sort of a bonus audio podcast as part of this series. This has been an audio podcast as part of the Labostix Practices edition. an audio podcast as part of the Labostix G-Force and the LabTide G-Force, aligned to a Biomedical Science Day 2023 and another Storm Labostix production. Thank you for tuning in.